All right. Welcome, everyone. ThursdAI, January 22nd. My name is Alex Volkov. I'm an AI evangelist with weights and biases from CoreWeave. And today we have an incredible show that I'm so much looking forward to. Welcome to your weekly AI update show. And I am joined by my co-hosts, Wolf from Ravenwolf and Jan Peleg. What's up? What's up, guys? Welcome to the show. Welcome to Thursday. How you guys doing?
Hey man, great day. Is the audio good?
Audio is incredible. It looks like all of us are draped in black for this show, which we should definitely see if we can keep going with other folks as well. So yeah, everything's good. Audio is good. Jan Peleg, let's say hi to you as well. How you doing, man? Jensen jacket.
Correct. Oh yeah. The more you buy, the more you save.
The more you buy, the more you save.
Get the GPU as an extra that you guys on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and we want to say welcome to the folks who are watching us across YouTube, Twitter or X, LinkedIn. We have a few folks on LinkedIn as well. Sometimes Yam cross posts to Facebook. So we have like one person from Facebook as well. Hi everyone. If you are tuning in for the first time and never tuned into ThursdAI, we're here to tell you all about this week's AI updates and releases and tools. And we have been doing deep dives lately, and last week we did a deep dive into skills, agent skills, and this week we're gonna have a very incredible, very exciting deep dive later on with the show with Dan Peggin and Wolfram and I. We all got super excited about this thing called ClawdBot. Claude with a W. There's too many Claudes, and but this one is special. So this is like a cloud. Yeah. I don't. There's no way. So we're gonna deep dive into that. And if you haven't played with it, you must have seen this on your timelines. And if you're not like us, you're not addicted to X, and you're not seeing this on your timelines, that's all right. You will see and experience this as well. So with that, I will kick off the show very soon. I'm just gonna add Niston with us here. What's up, Niston? How you doing?
Hey everybody, just quick mic check.
You sound incredible, and also you sound less sick than last time, so that's also great.
No, I'm freaking sick.
Freaking sick. Sick. Alrighty. So for folks who are just tuning in, ThursdAI, we've been doing this for close to 3 years now. Every week, we're basically are aiming to be the group chat that you're not part of just discussing AI stuff, which is cool, and we love it. And we're graciously sponsored by Weights and Biases, my employer, Wolfram's employer as well, for the past 2.5 years or so. We're just very excited about the news of this week, and we have a lot of news to cover. So, as always, in the beginning of the show, I usually mention to folks that we talk about the most important major update about AI that we must not miss on the show this week. And I think we'll start with Yam. Let's start with you. What was the one must to be discussed topic of this week?
Can I again bring all the Ralph thing, like all the Ralph TUI and Ralph loops and like all the Ralph thing going on? I mean, that's pretty cool. Like seriously, I mean, you take a model, you put it in a loop, it becomes an agent. You put it in a loop, now it becomes Ralph. The next step, I think I have an idea what the next step is going to be, but yeah, I mean, we're approaching autonomous coding, like for real, and that's exciting. Seriously.
So I will just mention for folks who have no idea. Sorry, Wolfram, just like one thing that I will mention that we did for folks who are just tuning in. We did a deep dive into Ralph, the technique for autonomous coding, with Ryan Carson, who went mega super viral. He's not the creator of the technique. The creator is Jeff Huntley, and he's deep into the crypto rabbit hole right now. But besides this, we did a deep dive with Ryan Carson, and Ryan's tutorials and Ryan's repo about Ralph is also blowing up. Ryan's not going to join us this week, but co-host of the show as well. And if you want to know all about Ralph, tune into our episode from 2 weeks ago, beginning of January. It was an exciting deep dive, and it still keeps going. Is what you're saying? It's still hot. It's still everybody's talking about this. It's still autonomous coding is almost here. Yep.
The loop is still running. It's not stopping. But what is funny is that when agents came out, a lot of people said, oh, it's just an LLM in a loop. While true, do call LLM and repeat. But the funny thing is now that is actually a way to get the agents to be more productive, more successful. And yeah, it's kind of funny in that way.
We can discuss Ralph a little bit because like it keeps continuing to work. But Wolfram, would love to hear from you. What is the one major must talk about topic in AI from this week?
Oh, it's not just the week, but it's been for me, it has been the most exciting project in month, actually, in a long time, because the ClawdBot, I think it's pronounced like Claude, but written differently. So this ClawdBot with the W, that has been amazing. I saw it, I tested it, I was blown away. It's not just positive things, of course. We are not a hype show, so I also have a lot of things to say, what to watch out for, but we will come to this. But that is the project with the most potential I've seen in a while.
100%. And Niston, how about you?
I am this week. I just stopped using Claude Code because it just kept screwing up data pipelines, and I just started doing everything manually again. I'm just kind of tired of it because I've been using this for 6 months, and yeah, I have some opinions. I think people are just getting carried way too far away, and they're going to start simplifying it. And I just wanted to like, you can just write a Ralph loop in a single line of Bash without any Cloud code and stuff, and you should be able to run it on different models. But I'll try to I'll try to demo that at some point this week. Like, you should just be able to go to just like go in Bash and just do no hop and even put the command inline in Bash. And you only need like a 4-line command to actually get a proper Ralph loop going. And in my opinion, you don't need all of this slop around it. It's not. It's really not necessary for it to work well. I just want to see it work more with open source models now. Like, we should show, like, can you run Ralph on your local machine? All in. Like, let's just make that the challenge next.
And given that we are a news show about AI, Niston, what AI update from this week is the most important for you, must cover?
Oh, definitely the GLM-flash. That is, so if you want to run an agentic model locally, up until now it was Minimax, who Mr. His name is Meow. I forgot his first name. Skylar Meow, that we had on the show. That one is pretty excellent at doing the tool calling, and it's only 10 billion active parameters. This new GLM model is rebuilt on a DeepSeek architecture, and it is extremely fast at doing actions. I was getting like on a Mac Studio, I was getting like 120 tokens per second just running the MLX one. So I think this is the ultimate local Ralph. So
GLM-4.7-flash.
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to talk about this, folks. It's something that came out from Z.ai from this week, and we're going to add LDJ to the stage. LDJ, welcome. We are just covering each and everyone's must-discuss topic from AI news from this week. Would love to hear yours before we go and dive into the TLDR. We have a big show. We would love to hear from you as well. What's your must topic to discuss?
Yeah, I was gonna say 4.7-flash, but since it sounds like you guys are already discussing that, I'd say maybe Qwen 3 TTS is the next thing about that.
Ooh, almost breaking news. Qwen 3 TTS just came out 30 minutes ago. Shout out to our friends at Tongi Labs, Alibaba, Qwen. There's too many names, but yeah, all of those folks work at the same place. Yeah, that's great. We're definitely going to discuss this. I even have baking behind the scenes a cloning of some sort that we're going to test out with. So hopefully by then it has cloned, as their TTS supports voice cloning and a bunch of other languages. Those are great. I would say mine from this week, if in terms of AI updates, would be it's quite a few. I'm going to run through the TLDR in a second. You guys will see. I think that the Claude Constitution is the most interesting update from this week. Anthropic released a document called Claude Constitution that was previously sol.md file that makes Claude what Claude is. And it's very, very interesting because many of us prefer Claude and we don't know why. And I think some of the secrets of why we prefer Claude over other models, even though they technically report better on benchmarks, is some of that is because of that constitution that they train Claude with. So we're going to cover Claude Constitution as well. I think that it's time for us to dive into the TLDR to show you what we're going to talk about this show. There's a lot, and as a reminder, we have a guest joining us later on the show to talk deeply about ClawdBot, Claude CLAW apostrophe D, like claws. ClawdBot has been blowing up on all timelines. Pete Steinberg is the creator, and it's been one hell of a discovery for me, for a personal AI chatbot, Wolfram for you as well. So we're going to do a deep dive later on in the show. We'll show you how to set it up. We'll show you what it means. We'll show you what it does, and then we'll set you on the discovery journey. I think this is kind of the kickoff, folks. All right, let's do a TLDR. Let's do a TLDR super quick. Let me just pull up the stuff. All right. As always, listeners tuning in, I see a bunch of folks. I see Milos. I see Mobile Stube. I see Tony. I see a bunch of other folks. Welcome to the show. It's great to have the show here. If you're tuning in live somewhere, please feel free to comment where you're tuning in live from. This is a trick I learned in some webinar. People love to say where they're from. So tell us where you're tuning in from and what is your one update for the week that is must say. We're already having folks saying GLM 4.7 and also XAI getting fired after interview. There's a small incident with a dude from XAI who did an interview, revealed some stuff, and got let go. But this is as the extent of the show that we're going to cover, the extent of this news that we're going to cover. All righty, sharing my window with my updates, and then we're going to go through TLDR. Let me zoom in here so you guys will see, and let's go. That's a very interesting layout. Hold on. Like this, maybe. Sure, like this. Alrighty, here's it. Here's the TLDR. Here's everything that we're going to cover on the ThursdAI January 22nd show. We're going to talk about a bunch of TTS and open source. With you, the host, Alex Volkov, AI evangelist with Weights and Biases, and co-host, Wolfram Ravenwolf, Jan Peleg, Nistan Tahira, LDJ. Shout out to our co-host who's not here. Ryan Carson is doing another show. He's going to be here with us at some point. Today, a big deep dive. We're going to talk about ClawdBot with Dan Pagin and Wolfram Ravenwolf. We're going to talk about how to set up ClawdBot, what it does, why would you try it instead of Cloud Code and a bunch of other stuff. ClawdBot is a super cool open source AI agent that's personalized to you with a lot of personality that you can work on. In open source, as we all told you before in the beginning, the most important, the most incredible release in open source this week is Z.ai, Z.ai, whatever you want to call them. Let's call them Z.ai. Releases GLM-4.7-flash. It's a faster version of their GLM 4.7, which so far has been probably one of the top open source models that you could run. This one's a 30 billion parameter MOE that's lightweight for local AI assistants. Probably can, we're going to tell you all about this. We also have our friends from Liquid AI release a small LFM, Liquid Foundational Models 2.5, 1.2 billion thinking model, 1.2 parameter reasoning model, runs entirely on device with under 900 megabytes of memory. That's very interesting as well. And the folks from Sakana AI, the Japanese labs co-founded by one of the Transformers papers authors, they introduced RePo, a new way for language models to dynamically recognize your context for reorganize your context for better attention. Context management is a whole thing. Context engineering is a whole thing we're going to dive into. This is very, very interesting. And I'm going to skip straight down to voice and audio, because voice and audio this week is on absolute fire with open source. So just 30 minutes before the show was kind of breaking news. Alibaba Qwen released Qwen 3 TTS. TTS stands for text to speech, obviously. Full open source TTS family with 997 millisecond latency, voice cloning, and 10 language support. We're going to test out all these and play them side by side and see who sounds the best. We also, a new company that I haven't heard from, at least on the show, Flash Labs, released Chroma 1.0, world's first open source real-time speech-to-speech model with voice cloning under 150 millisecond latency. I don't know about world's first open source. Usually, like this title is auto-generated for me with Claude. We've seen open source real-time speech-to-speech models, but not with this latency. So we're going to test it out. So Chroma 1.0. And Inworld AI launches TTS 1.5, number one, according to them, ranked text-to-speech with sub 250 millisecond latency at half a cent per minute. So this one's not open source, but this one should sound very, very good and is ranked on LM Arena or Artificial Analysis, one of them, as number one TTS. So a lot of choices to choose from. I think there's also one from NVIDIA that I haven't added here. And we're going to cover, and we're going to do, Wolfram, how about we do a proper test? I think we have some time. Proper test with cloning. I have some very interesting samples of audio that we can use. So we're gonna do it. Alrighty, we are back into the TLDR. In the area of big companies and LLMs and APIs, not a lot has been released from the big companies. OpenAI announced testing ads in ChatGPT free and go. We're going to talk about ads in ChatGPT. They also started testing out age detection models. We should mention this and talk about that as well. Anthropic published a new 80-page constitution for Claude, shifting from rigid rules to explanatory principles to teach AI why rather than what to do. It's very interesting. Some insights from that constitution, and we're going to discuss this as well. There's a few updates that we're not going to do a deep dive in. Dario Amodei from Anthropic, the CEO, says that software engineering will be automated in 6 to 12 months. And also Apple announced an AI pin or something like this. That's going to be interesting. Apple also has an announcement about launching a chat model inside Apple, and also Siri powered by Gemini. There's a few rumors. Nothing you can take action on. And folks, on ThursdAI, we'd love to bring you stuff that you can actually use, and none of the Apple announcements are now. So it's all rumors. It's all like, oh, at some point it's going to be, when they're going to release, we're going to test it out. We're going to tell you if it's worth using and why is it better or worse than anything else. In this week's Buzz, the category where I talk about everything weights and biases and core related, I will remind you that a hackathon that I'm hosting, and Wolfram is also going to be there, in San Francisco is happening on January 31st, February 1st. So coming up in actually 9 days, please join us in San Francisco if you're there. We have limited seats available. We've hacks 3. We've hacks 3. Please join. I will approve you if you mention ThursdAI. We have limited seats available, but fans of ThursdAI obviously get to hack with the best of them. We have sponsors, and I'm going to tell you about the sponsors, and the prizes are cool, and you just got a bunch of surprises. In vision and video, Overworld releases Waypoint-1. It's a real-time world model running at 60 frames per second on consumer GPUs. We've seen world models before, and we're going to talk about this one. This one's pretty cool. It kind of looks like a game that streams directly to your, basically on every prompt, you create a world and kind of stream a game. It's, not game fidelity yet, but it's great that it's open source. In tools, we will mention Skills.sh. It's an NPM package for AI agents. It's very interesting. 20,000 installs within hours from Vercel. We talked about Skills and did a deep dive last week, and we're going to mention Skills.sh as kind of the way to install those skills. And also, there's an update for Cloud Code, VS Code extension now in GA, full agentic coding in IDE. So essentially, Claude is saying, hey, you don't have to use Cursor. You can use VS Code, the vanilla one, with Cloud Code inside, and you should be all right. That is it. And I think there's plenty for us to talk about. And finally, we hopefully will have some time to talk about this. Folks, any missing things that I have on here that you guys would love to add?
Oh, there was some interesting developments. Someone implemented the Flux model in pure C on the runtime, and I think that's pretty cool that you don't need all of these dependencies and you can just do image to image in just pure C, and yeah, that's super, considering like how big that entire stack is. So I found it pretty cool.
I just remember there's two more things, 1.5 more things in video that we usually cover. Runway 4.5 finally launched to consumers. Runway 4.5 is kind of one of the top leading video models that was announced a while ago but never launched yet. So it launched finally now with image to video, and the cool thing that it supports grid to video. So you can like give it a grid of multiple scenes. It will generate a video from those scenes together. It also includes audio. So far, video generation models that include audio was only VO3, and I believe LTX has some audio. Runway is now one of the top ones. We're going to show you an example of that. They look super, super cool. And yeah, I think that this is it, folks. Let's dive into open source, our favorite corner. Open source AI, let's get it started. Let's absolutely get it started. Let's talk about the most important release in open source for this week. And folks already mentioned this, both Nistan and LDJ. So I'll let you guys go after I just present this. So we have Z.ai released GLM-4.7-flash, previously RePo.ai, the rebranded company, behind the GLM family. GLM 4.7-flash, 30 billion parameter MOE, mixture of experts with only 3 billion active, incredibly efficient for local deployment. Model is specifically designed to be your local coding and agent assistant. It's crushing benchmark in its weight class. What is interesting? Why should folks use this? What is it better than anything else, folks? Let's dive into this. What is Z.ai all about? What is GLM all about? I want to hear from Nistan and LDJ on this one.
LDJ, you want to go?
Sure, I can go first if you want. Okay. Yeah, so it's about 3 billion parameters active, I believe, about 30 billion total. So it's about the same as some of the most popular Qwen models, and also about roughly the same as the smaller OpenAI 20B model that was open sourced, a little bit bigger though. And what's cool about this is, since it's a mixture of experts and since it has this only around 3 billion parameters active per token, that means it can go decently fast even on local consumer grade hardware. And as long as you have the VRAM to hold these total parameters in your GPU, you can have this model running at decent speeds, but it also has some really impressive coding scores. It's getting significantly better than the Qwen and OpenAI model I just mentioned, and basically every coding test you could imagine, including the more agentic ones, the ones that involve tool use, ones that involve web search, etc. So it seems like it could be especially good as just a local private vibe coding system.
So I want to ask, before you go, like GLM has GLM 4.7. They also had GLM 4.7 Air, which is supposedly the faster version of GLM. That's one is on Open Router. So this one is strictly open source. What sets this apart from Air? Do we know?
It's a lot smaller. So at the end of the day, the whole model is like 30 gigs, 31 gigs, but you're only using, because it's 3B active parameter, it means you're only using about 3 gigs of your RAM. So this means if you run it in 4-bit, you can actually even run it on a 3090. What's super cool about this is that the agentic coding scores, especially in particular SWE-bench, it gets 59%. And to give some comparisons from the SWE-bench leaderboard, Sonnet gets 64 with Sonnet 4. And I think Kimi K2 Thinking gets will get about 63. So, and Minimax gets 61. So this is now approaching a portable sonnet agent, and like the speed that we're getting these models in are just phenomenal. So if you do want to run something privately now that can do a lot of tool calling, a lot of action calling, if you don't have internet and you want to use Cloud Code, you can just hook it up to this on your own machine without internet, and Cloud Code will keep running. It will keep firing off tasks. Now, is it going to write the best code? No. That's still Opus is still king there, but it just now gives you local agentic ability, and I think that's a pretty big deal. Even if you run this on 8 GPUs, you're going to get some crazy fast speeds. Again, on a Mac Studio, just like a stock Mac Studio with an M3 Ultra, I was getting about 120 tokens per second. So it's very fast. Like it's just really nice to have this right now, especially if you want to just do like some DevOps tasks, or if you have some things you want to run around. Yeah, this can definitely do it. And the thing is, it can even do it on CPU. If you have a powerful enough CPU on a server, you can now just like give it local agentic ability, and it'll just keep going. You can run Ralph on a CPU, guys. This is what this means.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I will mention so the Ralph technique for autonomous away from keyboard coding. The whole point there is that Ralph, why is it called Ralph? Is because Ralph from The Simpsons is kind of a stupid but persistent character that gets results, right? The whole point of Ralph is like, I'm trying, and the whole point of Ralph is to isolate context so that your agent is gonna eventually get to what you want, and it's going to retry again based on your criteria. So essentially, you don't need the best coding models for Ralph. You can execute the whole task with the best models. Ralph is all about, hey, let's make it so even the smaller models will be able to achieve results, and this one is a great model to do so. It's 24 gigabytes in 6-bit. Yeah, I'm just downloading it now in LM Studio. Maybe not the best thing to do while streaming.
Guys, remember, if you look on the SWE-bench leaderboards, Sonnet 3.7, the old Sonnet 3.7, which the entire Ralph looping technique was developed on, that one gets 52, and this gets 59. This is just how fast this stuff progressed. It's and I think it could be debatable if it's better than Gemini 2.0 Pro. Like, I think that's a very big deal, just how fast we got to this, because the biggest problem before is that tokens were just too expensive, and now they're not expensive at all. You can just run this.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
And I'm assuming that the different providers like Cerebras, once they put on this model, it will fly in insane speeds, which I'm not even sure that speed is of the matter here. So let's look at some evals here super quick for GLM-4.7-flash. We have, let's make sure that I'm looking at. Yeah, I don't think that this page is GLM-4.7-flash. I think it's GLM-4.7,
that's the
right?
regular. Yeah,
that's the regular one. Let me see. Let me find their flash update.
The thing is that you can run this locally. I mean, all the Ralph and agent stuff, there is a problem when of privacy. When it runs on your computer, it can, like, it systematically just sends stuff to Anthropic, and whether or not you like or don't like Anthropic, there are stuff on your computer that you probably don't want to share, or at least don't want to just be traveling over the internet, you can say. There is a lot of benefit in running a local model. And this can run on a pretty decent machine. You don't need a server rack in your house to run this. And if you actually get Sonnet performance with this, it's huge. I mean, that's pretty much where it's going. I mean, you have two classes of models, those that you can run at home and those that are too expensive to run at home. And we are approaching, just like we got to this point where the models just crossed a threshold, and now agents are possible, and now Ralph is possible, and all sorts of things are now possible. They weren't possible before. You see the smaller models also crossing, starting to cross this point where you can actually use them on locally for real life coding, and that's pretty cool. I mean,
yeah. Also,
mhm.
yeah, stuff like compliance and yeah, if you need to do. Oh, the other thing that we didn't mention is it's been heavily trained on browser use.
Yep.
So the actual browser use is better than the older like Sonnet 3.7 and stuff. So if you do need something, like you have maybe confidential data, or you're in the medical field, or whatever you're doing, that you need local agentic ability. You need something to, I don't know, check processes, check tasks, go on a website, just like chop off data, whatever you need to do there. This is an extremely helpful tool, even if you don't run it locally. Even if you just need to run it at a very huge scale and need the fastest model possible, this can actually do it. Again, we'll have to fire up some demos during the week.
Some LM Studios, yeah. All right, folks, I think it's time for us to move on as we're deep into the thing and we only started talking about open source. I want to cover, so I just want to correct a technical mistake on the screen. Nistan was talking about the right numbers. I was showing the wrong numbers. I was showing the wrong numbers for their main GLM-4.7, which is great, but definitely not as runnable on CPUs as this one. So let's run through the numbers again. GLM-4.7-flash is comparable to the other 30 billion parameter models like Qwen 3 30 billion and GPT-OSS 20 billion. That's what they compare themselves to in the actual numbers. SWE-bench Verified is at 59 versus 22 at Qwen and 34 at GPT-OSS. 59 is very, very impressive. PowerBench is 79 and BrowserComp 42. So great scores for this like fairly a quick model that you can run. I started downloading this and stopped because I want to stream to you guys without interruptions, and this takes over my stream. But you can get it in LM Studio, everywhere else. GLM-4.7-flash. Let's move towards the next topic that we have to talk about. Liquid. I wanted to mention Liquid super quick. Liquid foundation models have been with us for a minute. We've talked about them a few times already on the show. This one is a new, smaller version of them, LFM 2.5, 1.2 billion parameter thinking with benchmarks. They compare themselves to the likes of Qwen 3 1.7 and Granite and Gemma. And Liquid has a different architecture, a little bit different architecture that makes them significantly more performant. So while we see here benchmarks that don't necessarily beat the other models on everything, although they're pretty much leading on instruction following models here, these models will run super, super quick. Liquid foundation model is under 900 megabytes of a model for this LFM 1.2 thinking. Dramatic improvements in math reasoning compared to the previous one, 88 on Math 500. And the hybrid architecture featuring gated convolutions enables 239 tokens per second decode on an AMD CPU and 82 tokens per second on a mobile NPU. So this is kind of like the whole point of these models is that, great intelligence, but also extremely, extremely fast to run because of their architecture.
Yeah,
that's actually the third class. Just quickly, because it has been mentioned, there are two classes, the big models that are running on the cloud and the small models running locally. And this is the very small class. So I wouldn't look at this model if you want to do something on your MacBook, for instance. But if you have a small device, a Raspberry Pi or something with very limited resources, then that is great. Like a Ricci, exactly.
Like a Ricci Mini, yeah.
Then you could put this on, but you couldn't put on a 30B model, for instance. So yeah, so there are three classes, and in this class, it's definitely a model to look at if you need and are restrained.
Also on iOS, like for older iPhones, there is a limit of like 3.8 gigabytes of memory, which a single process can use by default. And before, yeah, you could run models, but you were very context limited. So now you can just use 1.2 gigs to run the model. And now you actually have a good like 2.6, 2.7 gigs for context. So it makes it a lot more practical for mobile devices. So that's where I see this. I also think there's going to be some interesting stuff, maybe with games running it that need some local processing for AI dialogue, or things like web GPU tools that people are going around it. But yeah, this is basically the ultimate on-device model right now.
Yeah. They talked about benchmarks from Z.ai with exceptional performance with 4,000 tokens prefill and 83 tokens per second decode on Snapdragon 8 Gen 4. Prefill obviously is kind of like when the model loads the tokens before it kind of process them, and then decode is when they start streaming the tokens. And the more context you have, the more prefill performance is important. And
yeah, so for the audience, that those numbers mean 4,000 tokens prefill means that you can feed the model 4 pages of information and it will start responding in 1 second. So because before it used to be very slow when you just pasted something big, like you pasted a long essay or a website to your phone, you just like have to sit there and wait for it to eat the prompt first before the output would even start. So that number is actually very, very crucial because your system prompt and your stuff fits in there.
Yep.
So, yeah.
And the more skills and MCPs and etc. you stuff, the kind of the longer it will take. All right, folks. I wanted to maybe ask you guys about the Sakana RePo paper. Sakana AI, Tokyo-based research lab, released a pretty clever innovation called RePo, short for context repositioning. Core insight here is the current LLMs are stuck processing everything as one flat, rigid sequence of tokens, which makes it hard for them to handle noisy contexts. And they proposed a lightweight learn model assigns each token a real valued position based on its meaning, not just its place in the sequence. The model can then pull the semantically related tokens close together in attention space. So RePo is basically an attempt from Sakana AI, who did evolutionary fine-tuning algorithms before and did like very, very cool stuff, cool research. RePo is their attempt to solve the issue of context engineering, context raw context issues. They trained it on Olmo 2 from Allen Institute and saw consistent gains on better noisy context tasks, almost 2 points better on structured data. General thoughts about kind of context and how models train and use them. Would love to hear from Yam if you have a chance to take a look at this RePo thing or general approaches about context kind of re-engineering for models.
From what I see, the interesting thing about this is that they are passing the context through the model and then using the predicted position of the model itself for different parts of the context. Basically, let's say that you have, I'm seeing this for the first time. I'm just telling you. Basically, if I understand correctly, if you have a context with different sections that you don't really care about the orders of in the context itself, there is a lot of meaning to. There should be variation of the performance of the model depending on where exactly do you position each of the sections, even though you don't really care about the actual positions themselves because you just care that the information is in the context itself. So if I understand correctly, they are using they are passing it through the model to understand what the model itself, what in the attention of the model fits best to the positions, to the different sections of the prompt. I'm reading it right now as I'm telling you. Don't think that I'm too much of an expert in this specific method, but it's a really cool approach. seriously.
So
And,
we'll just mention that this is a paper. This is not necessarily proven. They're just showing good examples on something like Olmo. We don't know how it scales to bigger models, but definitely we know that there's issues with long context. Not only slow performance issues. We know that there's context degradation issues. That we know that like models are not as efficient at looking up context. Models are not great at doing compaction on their own kind of context as well. So this is why techniques like Ralph are improving people's performance, because Ralph basically starts with zero context and then loads only the necessary stuff for each task, right? So it's great to see more innovation in the area of, hey, let's try to figure out in the model in machine learning how to solve the context kind of like issues. Nissan, go ahead.
This might end up just being a much bigger deal than people realize. So if the audience wants to look more, I'd recommend just looking at the regular rope embedding, so just ROPE. And this whole thing is kind of a RePo, so it's like a play on that. Again, I am guessing because I've just scanned through it. But from people that know from the ThursdAI crowd, also Yarn was what enabled, so Yarn stands for yet another rope embedding, and that's what enabled us to extend context very long. So what it does is it just keeps a whole bunch of tokens as an addressing thing to just say that, hey, this is, to just kind of summarize in between. This is not correct, but it's just a rough idea of what it means. So what they're doing here, my guess is that it's just like a much smarter rotary embedding. So instead of doing all that stuff linearly, like we extend context linearly, and at some point the model just starts getting pretty dumb. This allows it to be a lot smarter with a small neural weight to just pick which parts it wants to hold in its yogurt brain as it's going through. So instead of doing it linearly, where you just dump everything in context, there's a neural net there now that is doing that in a much smarter way. I think it might end up being a big deal, but we'll see.
Yeah,
I think so too, because what we are seeing with the agents, and we will look at Claude later, with all the skills, you also have an even bigger context where all the rules are. So when it reads all the rules, it can get confused easily. We all know that in the attention, the things at the beginning, usually the system prompt, and the thing at the end, the last message, are more important than what comes in the middle. And if you have so many rules, they are in the middle, and then a mechanism that gives weighing, that weights it depending on the importance for whatever the context is, that is more relevant than just looking at the position. So it's dynamically rearranging the weights or the importance of the information within the context. And I think that is a big thing. If this works as advertised, then that could be a real big boon for a lot of use cases we have with bigger context.
Yep. Ready, folks? I think it's time for us to...
They have a demo. They have an interesting visualization if you want to see.
We have to keep moving forward. We have a big show.
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
Because this is theoretical. Most people won't be able to use this. But let me tell you what you will be able to use starting from today. We have not one, not two, 3 new text-to-speech models, some of them real-time, that I would love to kind of like test out together with you on the show. Why is text-to-speech important at all? Well, we know that some of us are building agents, and at some point we would like to talk to agents. For example, the little nice hugging face robot behind me that's dancing right now, Richie Mini, he can talk. He has a speaker, but he can't really talk unless you build a... Did he just crash literally as I was speaking? I think so. I think battery is dead. Anyway, you would love to kind of converse with these bots, and you would love to give them some voice or personality. The personality comes from a prompting, but also comes from which type of voice you give. And we are in a constant battle of better, more expressive, more prose-like. Prosody is getting better for the text-to-speech models, and obviously for other stuff as well. For example, creating AI that avatars that talk, for example. So this week we have seen a lot of new releases, and since they are multimodal, we're gonna like play them for you and try to actually clone some voices with them. So here are the 3 releases that we're gonna talk about today. Just 30 minutes before the show, Qwen released Qwen 3 TTS. It's a full open source TTS family with voice design, custom voice. Oof, this infographic did not. Oh, what is this? Anyway, so full TTS family with 97 milliseconds latency. We'll see about this. Voice cloning and 10 languages support, including English, Japanese, Korean, and major European languages. Wolfram, you'll be happy. I think they support German as well. They say they beat or match the closed APIs like 11 Labs and Minimax Speech across multiple benchmarks. Will be fully open source with Apache 2 license, of course. Apache 2 license means applause from the whole team. We love open source. I remember on the show that we started talking about, hey, voice cloning, and the big labs were afraid to release voice cloning because voice cloning was this like taboo thing. Oh my God, you're going to do so many deepfakes. You guys remember this a while ago? Now it seems like nobody cares anymore. Nothing happened to the world. Voice cloning in under 10 seconds exists. You can do whatever AI conversation with Elon Musk and Trump or whatever and fake. No, nobody cares. Nothing happened to the world. But I remember this show with a few years ago, people were like, oh no, deepfakes are coming. Do not release voice clone. This is now Apache 2 license voice cloning with 97 millisecond latency and 5 models across 0.6 to 1.7 billion sizes, which is essentially you can run them not real time, but very, very close to real time on consumer hardware with a 12 hertz tokenizer. Voice cloning requires only 3 seconds of reference audio to rapidly clone any voice with high fidelity. Do you guys want to test it out? I think it's time for us to test it out. They have examples on Hugging Face and model scope, but I think Hugging Face example is what we'd like to test. Let's see if we can get it. I should probably share only the tab though, right? So that you guys can hear. We need a demo. So anybody play with this already or not yet?
I have not.
Alrighty. So we're going to do a tab thing so that you can see this. All right. And we're going to test whether or not you can hear anything. So I'm going to say, hey, ThursdAI listeners, this is Qwen TTS. So I'm just typing. I'm going to change the language to auto and voice description. It's very interesting. So you can prompt voices here as well. So you can tell it will generate voice, but it will also like generate whisper tones with some echoey background and a British accent. So you can give a voice description. It will generate a custom voice. Let's play this and see. We need to wait a second here. I'm assuming this runs faster, but because it's a Hugging Face demo, it runs 0 GPU, and it needs to score this GPU. So it's okay. Here we go. It was fairly fast.
Hey, ThursdAI listeners. This is Qwen TTS.
Did this come through? Let me try again.
Hey, ThursdAI listeners. This is Qwen TTS.
So it's very interesting. It failed on ThursdAI and it failed on Qwen. It said Qwen, but generally not too bad. Female voice, high pitch. Let's see if high pitch we can do high pitch. But obviously the interesting thing is the speed of this and also the ability to clone voices, which we're going to test right now. Okay, now we got the GPU. Let's see. It's really quick on GPU.
Hey, ThursdAI listeners. This is Qwen TTS.
Oh, not too bad. The description is not too bad. Female voice with high pitch. Yeah, I didn't work with my attempt at a accent, but it kind of worked very well. I want to customize. I want a voice clone, and I also want to like figure out what this is. Custom voice. Hello, welcome to the speakers. Oh, they have custom voices that are fine-tuned. So this supports full fine-tuning, which is I think a big deal. Voice cloning usually, maybe we should mention, there are models that we used before for TTS that support voice cloning. and it's kind of like a on-the-fly voice cloning. So essentially, what they do is they kind of continue from. They kind of inject the voice that you give it, and then continue from that, and the model kind of learns how to talk. That's not how the custom voices in Grok and ChatGPT, etc., are trained. Those voices are trained on a lot of voice signatures, so like significantly higher quality. And I think that they have both available, so we can hear like a custom voice, like Aiden or Uncle Fu. I want to hear Uncle Fu. Let's see if we can hear Uncle Fu. Now you can select from these voices here that they fine-tuned as well on English. Looks like we got a GPU. Give it a sec. All right.
Hello, welcome to Text-to-Speech System. This is a demo of our TTS capabilities.
I like this one. Full of personality with a hint of a little Chinese accent there. Should we try a voice clone? Would love to try a voice clone to see how that works. I actually have an example for how we should try a voice clone. There's this there's an old Soviet cartoon with a wolf chasing after a rabbit. Some listeners may know what I'm talking about. It's called Nu Pagadi, and the wolf there smokes cigarettes. Is like a super like character. Actually, I want to show the wolf super quick. So let me see if I can find this super quick.
Can it do accents?
I don't know if we can do accents. We can try, but basically, this is like the most famous example of this wolf. This is he is playing a character of whatever, a Christmassy Russian thing. But basically, this wolf chases after this rabbit, smokes cigarettes. This is like a very bad example for Russian youth. This is maybe why everybody smokes in the Soviet era. But basically, I want to clone his voice. I have an example. Listen, go ahead. I know you have comments. I'm sure you have comments.
I just want to hear him go like, I am a wolf. I see this rabbit, but he ran too fast. I need to relax. And just...
Okay, let's see if this is gonna work. The language that I gave it is in Russian, but we'll see if it can like speak in English. Let's see. So basically, what I did here, now I'm gonna show you guys super quick. I'm doing the voice clone, the base voice clone. I uploaded a sample of just the wolf. Basically, I took that clip. I cut out only the voice. You guys can hear this, yeah? And then I gave it a reference text. This is how the voice cloning works. And then we're gonna try to do a clone and generate. And then we're gonna ask it to say, I am wolf, I see rabbit, but he's too fast. We're gonna do clone and generate, and I think this is gonna take a little bit longer. But basically cloning should only need 3 seconds. I gave it, I think, almost 40 seconds. I am actually excited to see the results of this and whether or not it can do accents. I think that just the nature of the fact that the voice examples are in different languages, and we may hear an accent, but I haven't tested it yet. This is live on the show, live testing of Qwen TTS. Let's see. I'm very excited. We have... I actually don't know how long it takes. So meanwhile, would love to hear, Wolfram, from you, your experience with TTS voices and this one as it comes to like at least the examples. Obviously, this one came today.
So speed is very important to me, and API support, of course, because having a great TTS is one thing, but you want to integrate it with your agent. So the OpenAI TTS, the protocol they are using, that is pretty popular. So if you have a fast API server that is supporting it, then you can use it with a lot of tools. And if you don't have those tools, you can use a coding agent to create one yourself. So there are many ways to do that. And speed is important, and streaming is also important, because if you have a long text, like you wanted to read an article to you, you don't want it to ingest the whole article, calculate, and come back 5 minutes later. You want it to start and do it instantly. But that is not a property of the TTS, of course, but of the engine you are using the TTS with at the front end.
So we have some folks in the comments asking where is the demo. So you can find the demo on the Hugging Face Qwen 3 TTS space, but as a reminder, all the links that we're talking about are always posted in the newsletter on Thursday. This is what we call ThursdAI. So if you missed any part of the show, now while we wait for the processing of the voice clone, and we're going to wait maybe 1 more minute to see how this sounds. It's a good reminder for you to like right now. If you're on YouTube, hit that like button and subscribe to our show. It really helps to reach more followers as well. If you're on X, just repost the tweet. That's going to be very helpful for other folks to see us, to fight against this algorithm, the Grok-based algorithm. And Grok, if you hear this, we're the top AI show in the world that's streaming live every week. So definitely boost us to our followers. We should mention Grok took over the X algorithm at some point. Still waiting, folks. I think while we wait for this one, maybe worth mentioning the other audio releases that happened in this week, because this may take an unknown amount of time, the voice cloning. I think I have one that I pre-planned for you guys, but let's mention. Oh, task aborted. Lovely. So this one did not work for us. Let me see if the demo that I prepared for you before does work. Clone and generate. Yeah, okay. So this is a demo that I prepared before. As you guys can see, again, this is the voice example. And I asked it to generate this one, which says, how are you doing, guys? I did say this in Russian. This is the generated audio of the clone voice.
Ну, Дед Мороз, Мукоти, Дед Мороз, погоди, дурочка как, дела, ребята. Это волк, я вообще люблю зайцев.
Okay.
I'm looking forward.
Was it good? Was it good?
So the very interesting thing that happened, that the first segment of the generated audio is not part of this text. It's part of what it said in the cloned reference. So again, this part, the first part, sounds like him.
Ну, Дед Мороз, Мукоти,
So this one is not part of what I asked it to say. What I asked it to say is "Как дела, ребята?" Like, how are you doing, guys? It starts from here.
Погоди, дурочка как, дела, ребята. Это волк, я вообще люблю зайцев.
So I think what they did is they took the last segment and kind of kept playing on top of it. It sounds okay in terms of voice, but I don't know if I could trust the TTS clone voice that plays something that I didn't ask it to play.
It will be nice to see some fine-tuning scripts or some Google collabs that.
Yeah, I think they have. They mentioned full support. Let me try. Let me see if I can just generate now. No, I think it does a full clone and generate thing on the fly. Not the best. Not the best, folks.
Also, you're running the smallest one too, by the way.
No, this is 1.7, I believe, in the demo.
Oh, is that the bigger? Okay.
I think the demo is 1.7. I think the demo is 1.7. Let's see. Yeah, 1.7 is the larger one here. Okay, let's try this one.
Ну, Дед Мороз, Дед Мороз. Погоди. Дурочка, this is wolf.
Yeah, okay, so I'm pretty sure that what happens here is it takes the last few of my reference and then generates it. So listen, I told it to say this is wolf in Russian accent.
Дурочка, this is wolf.
It's not the best.
By the way, I was wrong. There's a 0.6b and the 1.7. But again, this just released. I would be interested to see what Quindla with the Pipecat AI does with it, because it's just another step at cutting out the latency, but also because now this uses the full transformer of the language model as well. It can do stuff like emotions, which it seemed like it could. But yeah, I'm interested to see what people fine tune out of it.
Yeah, the fine tuning. I need to test as we saw, but let's try the other ones. Okay, so we have. We need to talk to the Quen team. The demos that I just now did with the clone thing, I was not impressed. Usually, I expect the text that I put in, the output would be the text and not the demo text that I shoved in there. So we'll see about that. Okay, so the other release that we have in terms of audio, this is Flash Labs release Chroma. And we should test that one as well. Chroma 1.0 is a world's real time speech-to-speech model with voice cloning under 150-second latency. I want to see if this one has an example. But I don't know if this one has an example, folks, unfortunately. But this one is open source, high-fidelity voice cloning from just seconds of audio, speaker similarity 0.8. How do we test this one? That's a good question. Voice similarity tested on humans and real-time performance. First token.
It's a 4B. So if you just look on Hugging Face Flash Labs, they released it as Chroma 4B, and it is under Apache 2 license.
All right, let's see. Deployed on Flash AI. It's also Apache 2.
Yep.
Amazing. A paper and benchmarks more inference code, but it doesn't seem like they have a.
I just found out. So they built this one on top of Quen 2.5 Omni 3B, which is pretty good model. But they made it end to end, and then they changed the input and output of the voice end to end. Guys, 150 milliseconds is crazy. That's
Let's try this. Hey, how are you doing? This is Alex speaking to you. What's your name?
Hello, Alex. I'm Chroma from Flash Labs. How can I help you today?
What can you do?
That's very good.
I can help with account issues, billing questions, and technical troubleshooting for Flash Labs services. What can I assist you with?
What model of voice are you based on?
I am based on the Chroma model from Flash Labs. How can I help you further?
Which version?
I'm sorry, I don't have a specific version number to provide.
That is very good. This is like super fast, right?
Maybe ask it to tell you a joke. With a lot of emotions.
So the interesting thing is what we're looking at right now. I don't think it's the open source version, but I think it's based on the open source version. This one has like RAG capabilities and VAT sensitivity, right? And then different agent roles. So you can upload the document, and let's upload a document of this week. Let's upload this. This is basically the summary of ThursdAI. And now
that was very, very good, by the way. That was surprisingly very good.
Yeah.
How can I help you with your account or services today?
Hey, I uploaded the document about this week's AI releases. Can you tell me a little bit about the deep dive into ClawdBot that we're going to do today?
Certainly. The document highlights the general availability of Anthropic's Claude Code VS Code extension, which brings their agentic coding tool directly into the editor. It offers features like chatting with Claude,
what about
mentioning files,
hello,
using
test.
command.
Oh, so it doesn't look like it interrupted. But again, we're talking about the open source one, but this is the Flash Labs website, and they have a speech-to-speech architecture with this Chroma thing. I'm not sure that this is the same model that they released in open source that does this on the website. Well, maybe
I think it is. It's just their harness around it.
Yeah. Well, in that case, I'm very, very impressed. Right, 32K context window, and this is a end-to-end model, so you can talk to it and it can talk back, and then we have this kind of like knowledge base that we uploaded, and immediately can talk about the stuff that you want in technical support. Super cool. Flash Labs, folks, they take a look at this one. I really like the speed. I'm very, very impressed.
Very nice. It's about 6 gigs if you're going to run it in Int8. That's like the minimum. You're probably going to need 2 gigs of context.
Yeah.
8 to 10 gigs of VRAM to just run this nice, which an old GPU should be able to do now. So this will be fun. That's actually a very impressive demo.
Yeah, very impressive demo. Yeah, way more impressive than the other open source that we just tested. Though we like Qwen, this is not it. Ken.
And even autonomous code base exploration.
So it continues immediately where it started from, and I don't know, like it should be Omni, so I should be able to talk to it to like stop it, but I don't see allow interruptions. Yes, allow interruptions. Okay.
It's available for paid subscribers and pay-as-you-go users, and supports.
Okay, the voice sounds good, but the interruption doesn't work. And the third TTS that we have that we wanted to test live on the show as well. So this was Flash Labs Chroma 1.0. It runs locally on RTXs and 15. It's production ready with 4 billion parameters. Also supports voice cloning, although we weren't able to test the voice cloning here. And they claim full open source end-to-end real-time speech-to-speech. But obviously we know that Qwen Omni was there. But they're combining Qwen Omni and Llama backbone and Mimi codec to generate all this. Right, last that we have on the TTS one is Inworld AI TTS. So I'm going to show this guy super quick. Inworld AI launches TTS 1.5, and that one is not an open source model. So the two that we just played you guys examples of were open source. This one's not open source, but they claim #1 TTS on artificial analysis with real-time latency under 250 milliseconds. They all seem to talk about the milliseconds for them. Engagement optimized quality, more expressive to serve a wider range of personalities, blah, 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 blah. Here is the kind of the scorecard. Inworld time to first audio compared to 11 labs. 11 labs is 500 milliseconds plus. Their TTS mini is 130. And they supposedly have a very high quality score. I want to actually listen to it somehow. Let's see if I can find an example. Meant to quick production grade voice AI, next wave AI applications. Try today. We're gonna hit try today, and then I'm gonna add this guy here so you guys can also listen. This is their website, the playground. Let's generate this guy.
Foolish mortal, you dare to enter my realm? Your courage will be your downfall. Soon you will learn that no one escapes from here.
It's not too bad. Hey, this from Game NPC. You have different voices here. Sounds reasonable. Sounds pretty good. Story narrator Blake. Let's try that one.
Foolish mortal, you dare to enter my realm? Your courage will be your down.
Markets are surging after today's announcement. We're seeing major movements across all sectors. Stay with us for the latest updates.
So here's the thing with these releases, with these like voice TTS models. First of all, it sounds great. It sounds great. Production, high quality for actual AI kind of like generated art. But we've had Cartesia here before. The folks from Cartesia are also generating like a super quick TTS, 49 seconds. 11 Labs, obviously. At some point, they're almost indistinguishable. And at some point, like the price is what they're battling for, right? So at some point, you're like, okay, how much good a voice can be? Word error rate is very important. So like if if it's important for me to create something with this, I can do a welcome to ThursdAI. And I want to hear it say ThursdAI, for example.
Hey, welcome to ThursdAI.
Yep, ThursdAI is really hard for the models, but we can.
Hey, welcome to ThursdAI.
So generating ThursdAI is really hard because it's not a proper noun and they don't know it. But generally, steerability of these models is very important, and the speed for agents is very important as well. half a cent per minute, though, is I think a significant. Where's the thing? Half a cent per minute is the significant kind of point of sale that they're showing, because they're saying price per million characters. It's $5 for Inworld TTS and over $120 for 11 Labs v3. So if this is if this beats 11 Labs in quality, but also like 1/10 of the price, 1/12 of the price with real-time latency in 200 milliseconds. That sounds pretty cool. Folks, any comments on this one, Inworld?
I don't know. It's not open source, right? I don't.
No, this one is not open source. This is a new competitor into 11 Labs and Cartesia's and the Minimax, I think, is the third best one.
Yeah, I find it interesting. They say it's available on-prem, so even though it's not open source, I guess companies can reach out to them to have it essentially local.
Yeah, and to run it themselves. I mean, that makes sense, right? Like offering this for intuitionability and consumer scale. Multilingual here, support English, French, Korean, Chinese, Hindi, Japanese, and German. Native speaker quality in every language is their marketing stuff. All right, this is TTS. They have Max and Mini examples as well. This is, yeah, it's pretty cool. For if you want to use a quick TTS for your AI art generation, it's pretty cool. Folks, we're over an hour and something in the show. So I would love to go to this week's buzz super quick to talk to you about our upcoming hackathon. And then I would love to dive into ClawdBot with Dan Pegin, a guest of the show, and Wolfram, and we're going to tell you about ClawdBot as well. We still haven't gotten to the major labs updates. We're going to talk about Cloud Constitution after that, but I would love to dive in super quick to this week's buzz to tell you all about the Weights and Biases sponsor for the show. Hey everyone, this is Alex from Weights and Biases. I would love to tell you about our upcoming hackathon. It's coming on January 31st to February 1st. It's called Weave Hacks 3. This is the third of the series that we're running. And given that everybody in the world is super excited about stuff like Ralph loops and cloud code, etc., the theme of this hackathon, again, is self-improving, self-healing agents. And we have incredible news that I wanted to share. So first of all, if you are in San Francisco, join us January 31st, February 1st in our office in San Francisco. If you mention ThursdAI when you apply for the hackathon, I will let you in personally. I'm running this. Wolfram is going to be there also. And you bring your ideas, you bring readiness to actually show up and build some stuff with the AI agent boom and Ralph loops, etc. It's never been easier to win a hackathon. And we have a killer office for you, full of big screens, big screens you can code on, standing desks. We have great food and drinks that I personally vouch for. We've tried multiple providers at this point, and we've dialed it down to a great one. And we have a RoboDog that's going to come and bark at you and yell at you. 15,000 plus in prizes, in cash prizes. You're going to get cash and some prizes as well, with some surprises. And I want to shout out some of the judges that we're going to have on there. A few friends of the pod for sure, but definitely major hitters in the world of AI stuff. Dex Worthy, the author of 12-Factor Agents and founder of Human Layer. He was on the show multiple times. Quinn Kramer, the top leading person in the world of AI agents who speak, creator of Pipecat, and the CEO, co-founder of Daily. Christopher Shadow, maybe otherwise known as Viju. He's a front-end engineer at Meta. He's a co-creator of React Native and Prettier and Excali Draw. This is Chris is going to be there, hang around. You can ask him a bunch of questions. He's going to judge your projects. Matthew Berman from Future Forward, AI YouTuber and founder of Fetch You Forward, 500,000 subscribers or more. David Locker, director of AI at CodeRabbit. Lucas Atkins, also friend of the pod, CTO at RCAI. Ray Fernando, friend of the pod. He's also a YouTuber and a live streamer and builds a bunch of stuff. We have a bunch of folks like this to come. Shout out to Cerebrus folks as well. Shadi Saba is going to be their head of AI and CoreWeave. This is the type of folks you are expected to show your product for. But also we have sponsors. Obviously, Weights and Biases, your truly is the main sponsor. We build Weave, the smoothest LLM tracing and observability platform. You would be expected to use Weave as well. But we have Redis as our biggest sponsor, real-time data platform powering AI agents. So you can build memories. You can build a bunch of stuff with vector search and a bunch of stuff with Redis. Browserbase joined us. Best web automation tool as well, so your agents can browse the web. Vercel is, I think, for the first time sponsoring us. So shout out to Vercel. You guys, Vercel is building a lot of stuff, including the skills.sh stuff that we just talked about, and a bunch of others. So shout out to Vercel and Daily, the team behind Pipecat and Quindla are also joining us. So Google Cloud and Marimo also sponsors. This is a big endeavor that we embarked on to bring you into our offices and to hack a little bit. So I'm very excited about this. If you're in San Francisco, please join us. The link is luma or luma.com or lu.ma/weavehacks3. Weavehacks3. I would love to see you there. Please join us. It's going to be a whole time, an awesome time. We have almost run out of space, so the seats are limited. Everybody wants the nice, great big monitor, so we can only accommodate a certain amount of people. So please join us, as well as a reminder that this show is sponsored solely by Weights and Biases from CoreWeave, and we would love to see you there. All right, this was the little kind of ad break, and let's move on to the main part of the show. Would love to invite you to chat with, to talk about ClawdBot. So I'm going to add to the show Dan Pegin. Welcome, Dan. I'm going to take off some folks, so it's going to be the three of us. Welcome, Dan. How are you doing? First time on the show. Would love for you to present, to introduce yourself super quick.
Oh, well, thanks for having me. Well, I've been messing around with ClawdBot for a while. Been in tech for 20 years, so did led marketing teams, did crypto, went around the block. And the past couple of months, I've really been diving into AI, advising some teams. And the past 2 weeks, since January 4th, I discovered ClawdBot, as many have, and spending a lot of time messing around with it and being blown away by its capabilities.
Yep. So let me just introduce ClawdBot super quick, and then Wolfram, would love to hear from you also how you discovered this, and we can dive in maybe some examples then if you're up for it as well. ClawdBot is a very interesting name. Let me see if I can bring this on to the show. So ClawdBot is this is how it looks. ClawdBot, not Claude as in the French name from Anthropic, although I'm pretty sure it's kind of somewhat inspired by this. ClawdBot has burst into the scene. It's a AI assistant that runs locally but can connect to LLMs created by Pete Steinberg, and it's kind of unclear from all the examples all the capabilities of that thing. But basically, what sets it apart from something like Cloud Code, for example, that we talk about a lot on the show, is that it's running in the background all the time, and there's a few ways for you to connect. And it's not only about writing code, although apparently it can also write code. It can do a bunch of stuff. It's more of a personal assistant that starts with, hey, tell me how you want me to call you. And tell me what you want to call me. This is kind of the onboarding flow of ClawdBot. Wolfram, how did you discover this? And then we'll maybe go through an example of how to set it up.
I saw a post on it, on X about it. And since I'm always interested in agents and ways to have a personal agent, I've been working on my own for 3 years almost now. And the great thing about this one is that it has so many integrations and that it has the entrance basically with the gateway. So once you set it up, you have the agent running permanently, so you can always talk to it. But how do you talk to it? If you have Claude Code, you could run it in a loop, of course, or just let it run. But how do you get in there? And the cool thing about this is that it has a gateway, which can be connected to WhatsApp, for instance, to Telegram, to Discord, to Slack. basically any messaging system you are using, you can connect to the gateway, and then you can talk to it wherever you are. If you are on your mobile, you just send it a message and ask it about something or give it a task to do, and it will instantly go and do it. When you want to do that with Claude Code, for instance, you first need to set up a system that is always running and give the instructions there. So, and once you have that, you need skills and tools for everything. In Claude Code, you would install MCP servers and nowadays skills, and this comes bundled with a lot of skills already. And the cool thing, since it has full access to these things, it can configure them for yourself. So if you want to do something, you just tell it, I want access to my mails, and it will look at its skill set, and it has
Hold on, because I think we're like burying the lead here. Dan, would love for you to also like chime in on this. You can ask it to build skills for itself and then enable to use them. The self-improvement thing, I think, is like when that clicked for me was the big mind-blowing thing. I don't want us to skip over this. Yes, this is an agent that can use skills. We talked about skills last week, folks. Just markdown files that give more information about how to handle a task. Yes, it can use tools. Specifically also compared to other coding agents, this one runs almost permissionless and can access and do a bunch of stuff on your system. So the recommendation is, if you want to play with this for real, install it safely and like make sure you know what you're doing. But Dan, tell me about the self-improvement stuff. Tell me about the fact that you can talk to this bot and have it, hey, update yourself, and it goes and does it and then says, hey, I now know Kung Fu, whatever. This is like this is what the first time it happened to me blew my fucking mind.
So yeah, you get skills that are in the box, out of the box. But these skills, okay, they're awesome. They connect to your Gmail, your calendar, Twitter, different places. But you can teach it new skills. You say, hey, okay, so the best example I had yesterday or 2 days ago, yesterday was like, take this remotion skill of making videos. Awesome, install it. It installs it, and this is done through WhatsApp. And you have it on your computer now. And so you can make videos. And then I said, you know what? I want to show how I installed the skill through ClawdBot, through WhatsApp. Let's make a format where I show like a back and forth, a chat of us chatting, and I'm installing the skill. So it created a skill that knows how to create, these kind of videos. So you could have like these templates that are running based on whatever you want to create. And this is not only for video, obviously it's for anything. It's generalized. So you can do this for images. You can do this for, you want to have some special workflow that goes through your Notion and goes through some content that you want to create, and you have this method that you have. So you can create this skill that then you can just run every time that you want to through your ClawdBot. And you can obviously create this on a timely basis. You can have a cron job that runs it. So I, for example, have a daily brief skill that I created. I just said, hey, I want a daily brief. Here's the things I want in my daily brief. Let's create a skill like that. It creates the skill. And if it's an awesome skill, I can also publish it. And then other people can download that skill. So basically anyone can create a skill that is awesome and then share it with the community, and other people can download it. So that's why it's like the Matrix, where you learn Kung Fu. Now I know Kung Fu, so now I know daily brief, or now I know how to make this kind of video. So that's the magic of it, is basically we're all as a community learning together to create new things, and we're sharing them. For example, my friend today created a subtitle skill that takes a video, transcribes the video, and adds subtitles to it. So that's just one example, but there's a million examples. Some other friend created a Tesla skill that goes into your Tesla, connects it to it, and gets your battery status, and it tells you during your daily brief what's your battery status.
I installed that today, and I haven't used it yet because like we jumped into the show. But I want to show folks what the process of installing that looks like, because installing is like a whole thing. You can just tell ClawdBot to go and get it from the Cloud Hub. Like it can. Yeah. Here's the few things that ClawdBot kind of like blew my mind on. It's a very robust system. It's basically an agent framework that runs on your, let's say, Mac. I think you can run it elsewhere. You can connect to it. So what runs is a gateway, right? You run it on your Mac. You can run it elsewhere, and then you have your Mac connected to elsewhere. But I think the power comes from running it on the system that you have access to. You have browsers on, etc. And it has access to its own commands. I think this is the highlight of why ClawdBot, I think, is so intense. It can rewrite its own code if it needs to. It has access to its own commands. It can install its own skills. It can create skills and install it for themselves. This is not something that exists in other areas because they weren't built necessarily for this. And then it can run a bunch of stuff on your computer, including running code. So, right, every skill that comes with code, they can just run this code, for example. So I'm sure that the Tesla skill requires some code connecting and will ask for your
some API.
Yeah. So that is dangerous. This could be dangerous. If somebody hacks into your cloud code, they can have access to everything that you have access to. However, the results of running something like this is quite incredible. And I think the highlight that you guys mentioned both is you can run and converse with it through WhatsApp and through Telegram and through Discord, etc.
Should I show you some stuff?
Yeah. Go ahead. I will just mention. Let me add Yam Pelek to the stage as well. Yam, you've been working with ClawdBot in WhatsApp as well. But Dan, go ahead. Please show us. We would love to see some examples of what can we do with this? Because I think every time that I encountered ClawdBot, people getting excited on the timeline, it took me a while to connect to really okay, what do I need it for? So definitely show us.
Do you see my screen? Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
Sir.
Cool. So by the way, I created a skill called demo. So it anonymizes stuff. So I asked it to create a skill so this way I can demo in a group and it doesn't show all my personal information. So it's a little bit.
You created the skill with ClawdBot, right?
Yeah, an hour ago I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna be showing all my my personal life. So I was like, how can I do this? So I asked ClawdBot to create a skill that anonymizes stuff. So now I'm what's his name? Now I'm Alex Chen. And these are my clients I invented, and this is the location where I live. I don't live there, and these are my kids, and these are not my kids. Anyway, so if I want to, I actually created a checklist of things I want to show you using your brand. I said, okay, let's use this brand, and these are the things I think we should show you. And then just it made that. So let's
again to pause for folks who are just listening. Dan, when you said you created, this is all a conversation in your WhatsApp with your bot that runs assumably on your Mac. That all of the stuff that you just said, this is all that happened within the conversation. The same stream, not 7 different AI APIs or websites. You just literally I'm to ClawdBot.
I'm peering into the world through WhatsApp now. And if it used to be like that before, now it's totally like that. I don't have interfaces anymore. I don't go to websites. I just go to my chat and say what I want to do. Go buy me a ticket to a show, or go check something on the school's website or whatever. I don't need to go to websites anymore. And I think that's what's gonna happen to most people as soon as we need it. Anyway, you can. So you choose what's interesting to you, and I'll set it up if you want to do that. But for example, I'll just start with one. If I say daily brief. Hopefully it will get it. So now it's preparing this fake daily brief. I hope it's going to be the fake one. And in the meantime, as it prepares it, I can say, let's say other things that I said. Yeah. So I said, this is kind of I asked ClawdBot to make an infographic explaining itself. I shared it and it got pretty popular. And then I said, okay, so can you make this in the branded for the podcast callers? So now it's branded to the brand of your thumbnail.
Walk me through how this actually happens behind the scenes, because I don't know if folks understand what's going on. You're talking to WhatsApp. How does ClawdBot generate these insane images?
It's connected to Nano Banana through Gemini API. So it has this skill of connecting to other models, and doesn't have to use only one specific model. And so it connects to Gemini, or I have another one that connects to 11 Labs, so it can actually chat with me. It can actually speak with me. For example, I don't know, will voice sound work here?
If you're sharing a tab, yes. If you're sharing a window, no.
It's a window, but I'll just remove the earphones for a second. But I can say podcast. Yeah, I told it to say, when I say podcast is starting, can you send a voice message, introduce yourself, be nice, and say hi to everyone on the panel. So I'm going to say podcast is starting, and then it will create this audio using 11 labs. So it's reaching out to 11 labs, create the audio, and returns it back here.
I also see some eyes every time you send something. I see some eyes.
Yeah.
What is that?
No, it's just an acknowledgement that I sent him a message. So to just to know that he's alive.
Amazing.
This is the daily brief. Good evening, Alex. Here's your daily brief. What's the weather like? What's my focus? These are my clients. Not really. That's the rest of the day. We have a family dinner. We have kids. These are meetings. I have a meeting with Johnny Ive tomorrow. This is the gym. It's conflicting with the gym. These are my health stats. I need to go to the gym tomorrow to stay on track. It connects to my health on Apple. I didn't know how to do it, so I just said, hey, I want to get my Apple health data into this. Can you figure it out? It told me what app to download, and it just gets it through some API. It searches X for trends so that I can create content that's in the zeitgeist. Like you want to talk about what everyone's talking about. So surprise, surprise, AI agents is it's a big one.
Yeah.
Okay, demo checklist and done. I didn't ask it to do that. It had this idea to add this thing, these breadcrumbs. It's very cute. Okay, podcast is starting, but it didn't send me this video. Can you send it as an audio? Yeah, so that was the daily brief. I could create images. You saw. Yeah, I told it to analyze itself, and then it created this. I told it to do a little bit of research about you guys. So I said, do you know, can you do some research about these guys so I know who the people in the podcast are and anything cool, fun that I should know about them? Obviously you could do this with ChatGPT or whatever, but this is all done through WhatsApp and it has all the context of my life. Yeah. So it knows how to make it relevant to me, which, by the way, this is a bit of a bigger point. The point is that I don't depend on OpenAI, on Anthropic or Google, because it can run on any model. I can do /model, and it can tell me like, here are the models, and I can choose different models. And this is what I'm running on right now, Opus. But when I'm over tokens, I can move to Minimax or whatever. The cool thing is that the context comes with me, because all of the context is on my computer. I back it up as well, but Pokey backs it up into a repo. But I'm able to, I basically have a suitcase with all my context, all of my life, all my memories, all my important things, and I go into a model and use it as a model, not as a memory. And this way I can just move around and I don't depend on anyone. And it's open source, so I don't need to, like go and pay subscription to OpenAI for it.
So I think that this is the most important piece here, that maybe people who saw all this goodness, like why would I need to send, why would I send a lot of personal details to some random company? You are sending information to whatever model provider you choose. And you can do this for local models. They're not going to do as good as a job as Opus 4.5. Obviously, Opus 4.5 is incredible at this specifically. But the rest of it, you're not sending to some rando company. This is like stuff that happens. All the prompts and the memories and everything is local, sits on your Mac. This is why I think I saw a bunch of people buying Mac Minis, for example, specifically for ClawdBot to live, because they don't want like to have it run on their like machine. Maybe they work on laptops and laptop goes to sleep. They want it like continuously in the cloud. Then those are a great example. We'll get back to them. Yam, I want to hear from you. You said your whole WhatsApp workflow is also built on ClawdBot. When did you start playing with this? Like, what's interesting about ClawdBot to you?
Yeah, look, I saw the WhatsApp demo and I was immediately hooked that I must try to run this myself. And I have my own fork of ClawdBot that went pretty viral, I think, a couple of weeks ago with the WhatsApp agent running on my computer and so on. What I want to emphasize is there are two things here. First, it's running from your phone, but it's running on your computer. You have Cloud Code and Codex and other mobile agents, but they're usually running in the cloud, not on your computer with your entire environment, with your entire code. That thing is different, is running on your computer, which gives you a lot, pretty much a lot. Everything you see, you have access to your files, you have access to your accounts. It's crazy. Second of all, you are interacting with many agents through a single conversation. And that's huge, because usually when things start to get complex or you work on multiple projects, then things become you have like 10 different Claude Code windows open, and then you start to copy prompts from one to the other, and things get messy. Here you have a single agent that you're talking to, and it spawns other agents for you or connects to different sessions for you. It's like if you imagine, like in movies, you have a single AI you talk to and you tell it, hey, do this and do that, and on this project do this. That's the closest that you get, and it's very convenient. And obviously, like you saw on Dan's setup, you can just tell it to install skills for itself because it's on your computer. It stays on your computer. It installs something and then it stays on your drive. So you have it from now on. And that's huge, seriously. That's the only thing that does it.
So we did we did capabilities. We got super excited. I'm sure that there's folks right now looking at this like, I will never install this, like too complex. Dan, can you take us through like what it takes to install this from like just base bare bones stuff? How easy, how hard? What do people need to do?
I mean, the easiest to me was to use Claude Code and to use it as for it to take care of all the problems. So, but they're also making it easy. Like the community is making it the easiest possible to install. So I asked it, what's the easiest to install? You do one command in the terminal, and that's it. It runs it, or in Windows, and then you run ClawdBot setup, and you run it. And if you run into problems, then best to just run it in Claude Code, and Claude Code takes care of the problems.
I think that this kind of approach is very world changing to many of us. That now we have agents that we can ask for support. So like people who are watching this, we need to tell them, hey, we may not be there when you decide to install the stuff that we talked to you about, but here's all the tools, and Claude Code is one such tool. Not to be mistaken with ClawdBot that we're talking about. But also, basically, the basic setup that's needed for folks. You go to claude.bot. I think that this is like literally the URL, right? Claude.bot. Let me put this up on the banner. You go here. Claude.bot. You go here. Let's actually go there. Let's actually go there, folks, so that you'll see how to install ClawdBot on your PC. You go to Claude.bot. If you're on the Mac, I will actually say, Dan, your face is also somewhere you were shared like how the community uses ClawdBot, which is super cool. If you're on the Mac, you can literally just download an app, by the way. You don't have to do the one-liner as well. You can go and download this app on the Mac. But if you are okay with terminal, which is not that big a deal, just open a terminal, you send this command and installs everything. Now, what works on Mac, Windows, and Linux, but this one installs in a Node.js environment for you. And then it runs on your machines. It connects to any chats. It has persistent memory. I think this is like a very important thing because you can talk to it and have it talk back and remember who you are, etc. It has browser control. You can ask it to do tasks for you. And we know that this works more and more with different AI models like Cloud Opus 4.5 is really, really good. GLM versions are really, really good at like controlling the browser as well. Full system access. This is the scary one, right? So like they do talk about security, full system access. You can read and write files, run shell commands, execute scripts. It can also delete files, right? So let's talk about kind of the downsides. It can delete files on your system. So you should be very aware of what you're installing and how you're running this. And if there's like very important things on your machine, do not, take care of your security. And then after you install this, you need a few tokens. You need to connect it to some sort of LLM, right? So most of us connected probably through the very non-approved by Anthropic Cloud Max subscription, I believe. Wolfram had a great tip about connecting it for free to Opus.
Yeah, I just wanted to add about installing it. That is one way to install it in your own system. Of course, then your own system has to be online all the time if you want to access your bot. Another way would be to put it on a VPC. There's a documentation in the official docs about how to put it on a Hetzner box for $5 a month. Or you can install an unofficial but working Home Assistant add-on. That's how I did it. So now it's running on my Home Assistant system, and even if my PC is out or my MacBook is offline, I can just use it. And speaking about this, that is also a thing, the cost of this. You can get a box for $5 and the software is free, but you need the model, the brain, for this to run, and you want a good model, especially because for security there could be prompt injections, and the author recommends to use bigger models because they are more resistant to such attacks. Like Alex said, it can delete your files, but maybe even worse, it can send your files to somebody. It could do an exfiltration attack. So also watch that when you connect it to your Gmail account or your WhatsApp, so your text services are there. But you want to use it, so you need to pay for it, because the AI, either you run it locally or you have to access it with another subscription. You can use the Claude Code subscription. You can just take the token from Claude Code and use it with this. I'm not sure how long that will be supported, as we know that OpenCode did the same and Anthropic really didn't want that. So you may be breaking the terms of service, maybe, but you can do it. And it is probably one of the cheapest ways, or anti-gravity. You can even take that token and then you can use it for free with the Claude Opus and Gemini 3 Pro. And another alternative would be to use OpenRouter, where you can use all of these models and switch easily. There are different providers supported, as Dan already said. You can connect to local models, any model. You can use that as a brain. So those are options. It's all documented in their docs, and you can just ask the model. So you can ask Claude itself, the W Claude, how to do it, and it will do it. So yeah, talk to it. It will help you.
Then what is the model that you're running? I think I know, but I wanted to ask you. What is the model?
Opus. I'm going all in on it. So sometimes it costs me more money than I want to. But it's also much better recently. So I think things have changed in the
I think there was a bug, but I posted on my X because I installed ClawdBot maybe a week ago. Then I removed it because the configuration got messy. And then, like, before preparing for the show, I was like, all right, let me try again, because I know it's cool, but I want to understand and tell you guys why it's cool. So I installed it again. And then for some foolish reason, I did not connect it to my Claude Max connection. I added a OpenRouter provider key. And I was pretty sure I have some credits in OpenRouter. I had like $10. Very quickly, those $10 ran out. And I was like, okay, maybe I shared my OpenRouter key with somebody in my household, whatever. Maybe I didn't have that much time. So I uploaded, I'll add another $10. 18 minutes passed and I was out of credits again. 18 minutes for $10. I was like, what the fuck? Yeah. And Opus 4.5 is around, $4.5 per million tokens? So like it ran 3 million tokens in less than like 15 minutes for me. Here's how it happened. So as you guys know, I prepare for the show. And to prepare for the show, I have a bunch of like releases that I need to go and research for you guys so I know what we're talking about, right? I asked ClawdBot to open a sub-agent and go research every one of those releases separately. And I had like 10 things to do there. It opened the sub-agent, and then, which is great because they run in parallel. And so 10 sub-agents with Cloud Opus 4.5, each one with the context of Cloud Code. Apparently there was also a bug with some caching for longer context as well. So that was like a compounding error. I think it's not much cheaper. But basically after 10 sub-agents run, at the end is like, your account is out of tokens. And that became very expensive. Now, if you do connect it to anti-gravity, like Wolfram said, very easy to do so. Just do it from the command line. I don't know if you can ask ClawdBot itself to connect itself to new models, but you probably can.
Can do it, but it often needs to copy a token back, and then the code has timed out because it wasn't waiting. But after 3 tries, it actually figured it out by itself and allowed it.
Yeah. So I think the highlight that I want to like send to you, and then I would love to see if you have like more examples of like thoughts of ideas of how people can connect this. Highlight that I want to give to you is that all of us now on here, everything that we have an issue with ClawdBot, we talk to ClawdBot about the issue, and everything that we want that's missing for us, we ask ClawdBot to add to itself. It can write the skills and then run the skills. It can do a bunch of the stuff that you would otherwise do. It can go online for you, connected to your browser if you have the Chrome extension, or in its own browser that's managed. So it can like browse websites and do some stuff for you. Very interestingly, it has a connection to Twitter without the Twitter API key, which is incredible. I don't know exactly how that works, but it like reads from my bookmarks. I think it's connected to a browser or something. That was incredible. For a long time I searched for something like this. And Cloud Hub skills. I think like many people just like add to that almost centralized skills hub that kind of looks like super cool. Then any favorite skills from Cloud Hub specifically versus the ones that you built that you want to highlight here besides the Tesla one that you did?
I don't know. I don't go much here. I just think about what I need and then I say go and like, do we build it or you do it, or like I didn't actually use this as discovery.
Nice. Okay.
But yeah, I just want to say I agree with you on the meta skill. The meta skill is to use ClawdBot, but with any LLM at the end is to ask it how to solve the problem. And another, by the way, an interesting skill that I built is every evening I asked it to review our chats and to think about how we could have done things better. And then it auto kind of has a learning loop for itself. Sometimes it says, okay, I shouldn't have reminded him 10 times about paying taxes for this or that. I probably should put it into his calendar or something like that. You know, like it comes up with solutions for the bugs and issues in our workflows.
How does it do reminders proactively? I think that this is like a very big thing, but I haven't added any yet. But like, you can ask Claude to like be proactive for you as well and like to do some stuff. So how does it actually happen?
I'll share my screen. I can say like, remind, do you see it? Yeah. Remind me to thank Alex for inviting me to the podcast. When it ends, I don't know, maybe it will figure out when it ends. And it will say, I'll remind you in an hour. And so, so it has this kind of list of things that it needs to remember and to remind me. And you can also hook them to specific events. You can say, when I go to this meeting, remind me to do this. So it reminds me about some agenda topic I want to set up. If I have by the way, if I have a meeting, I have a skill where it creates a meeting notes in Notion and adds agenda. Here, it assumed 2 hours for the show. I'll ping you to thank Alex for the invite. Cool. It'll ping me.
Where is that stored, and how will it wake up?
I don't actually know. I don't remember. Do you know?
I can tell you. It has a config that stores this, and you have a polling service that is going periodically and checking whether or not there is something that you need to do, like every hour or every whatever is configured in a config. It's just polling. I mean, what I find amazing about this is that it's such a simple solution and it just works. And you can just, like, you do nothing and you get a WhatsApp agent that you can tell it, wake me up, like, be my alarm clock for tomorrow morning or something. And it just works. With such a simple solution. It's amazing.
And it's very smart because, for example, yesterday was my wife's birthday and it knew there was my wife's birthday. I had a whole project with tasks that I wanted to do before the birthday, etc. And then it said in the morning, daily brief, it's like, hey, I'm not going to bother you today. Here are the most important things you should know. And I won't be chatting with you much today because I know you're busy with your wife. So I'll keep quiet. Which was really cute.
That's the power of every prompt being a full agent, like a sub agent. Like you run it, and it reasons with itself for multiple steps. What should we do? Like what it means that it's your wife's birthday, and like without you even saying it, because it has so much thinking and reasoning behind the scenes, and you just get the end results, and it's amazing. Seriously.
That also shows the importance of the model, because this wouldn't have worked a year ago or maybe a half a year ago, because the self-improvement only works because we have skills, which are markdown files that the model can itself edit. If we had MCPs only, then it would have to rewrite those and use a coding agent, so it would be much more difficult. And with the intelligence of the model, that we have Opus and that we have Gemini's RePo, that these models are required for this. If you use it with a local model, small one, you will not get the same experience, of course.
Yep. I want to say that like we have a bunch of folks watching us right now, and some of them have ClawdBot also installed as well. And I want to show a super quick demo because like I haven't tested this out yet. We said to you guys that everything that we want in our, I don't know, mine's name is Wolfred, because I wanted the Wolf Alfred type like Batman assistant, and I just asked it to install a skill from the Cloud Hub. Like as I was showing you guys, I looked at the Cloud Hub and I saw that there's this skill. Where's this agent? It just disappeared. Agent browser something. Agent browser skill, Rust-based headless browser automation fallback that enables AI agent navigate, click, and snapshot pages via structured commands. And you can download zip, but why would you do this when you can go into ClawdBot and just like, hey, install agent browser from Cloud Hub, and I just installed it. How can I use this? And then you just basically do everything in this chat interface, just everything. And you can see some of my to-dos here, not anonymized. I need to do some stuff. And it shows useful for web scraping. And then you can basically, it can now have a browser. It has access to a browser, but this is like a headless browser. It doesn't have to like run on my Mac. So it doesn't show like a window that shows up. Okay, go and fetch, find done plugin page and tell me about him. PEG.
Yeah.
Like this?
I think so. I can see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically I said, hey, go and find the plugin page and tell me about him. We'll see how that works, but basically it has access to its own browser right now, and it just like goes in addition to the previous browser. So this is like a new skill that was just installed right now on the fly. I want to talk about some, while this happens, I'll show you what happens here, and if it pulls down page. I want to talk about security for this guy. Let's give some folks who are listening to us tips about securing your ClawdBot as much as we can. I will start because I immediately figured out that like the amount of API keys it asks for me to do the stuff makes me feel a little bit uneasy. And so I have 1Password. 1Password is a password manager that I've been using for the past 15 years. I think it's never been hacked. It's like local, etc. 1Password, and I saw a few folks has a ClawdBot has a skill for 1Password, and so I basically worked with ClawdBot to migrate all the secrets that I gave it into 1Password vaults and created a service account for it. Service account in 1Password is how you can like give agents secure access. I opened the vault specifically for ClawdBot, and now it has access to this vault. And now every time it needs a password for an LLM or a password for Twitter or a password for something else, it accesses it via 1Password, which is kind of mind-blowing. I was able to do this while talking to the bot. It has the skill, but I was like, hey, what do I need to do? It's like, hey, you open the vault, you open the service account, give me a link. I went to the link, I set it up. And now basically what I have is a personal assistant with access to some passwords that I have, not all, only the ones that I gave it to. And it's quite crazy, any other security tips that you guys have to secure?
Yeah, the ClawdBot comes with a security audit thing, command. So you should run it on your terminal. I'm sharing it on my screen. You can just go and run ClawdBot security audit, and then it helps you find the like common issues that you may have. So I suggest doing that at least as the first thing. And also be very mindful of what you give it access to.
Yeah.
For example, you could be prompt injected through your email or your WhatsApp. So make sure to create an allow list for WhatsApp so people don't find your bot's number and they try to hack it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is a thing. It's an experiment at the edge, so it's risky.
Risky. I just want to highlight, as we're going to finish, coming close to the end of our show here, Dan, here's a info that I found about you, tech entrepreneur, 15 years experience, CEO, VP market at Nexar, and here's the Twitter link that it found. And did a good job. I think it did a good job.
Yeah, it did a good job,
Yeah. Active ClawdBot user, Xbias says, mainly posting about ClawdBot right now.
True.
Yeah. So this was great, and like research agent, whatever agent as well. Yam, security tips before we end up and we kind of finish some stuff on the show.
Look, if you're gonna make if you want something secured, you are still sending stuff to your LLM provider at this point. So that's a problem. I don't know. Apart from having a browser running on your computer already logged into your sessions, I don't see, and that's host a completely different security problem on its own. But at least you're not sending your password away, and I don't know. That's a problem. I don't have a solution for that. I'm just YOLO mode. It's gonna be fine. Nothing ever happens.
So if you use Cloud Code and you keep reminded about like accepting every command, and then everybody tells you, hey, use -- dangerously skip permissions. ClawdBot is that on steroids. It runs with dangerously skip permissions by default, has access to all your files, and run command line, has access to your email if you're connected, etc. And prompt injection is a scary thing. You could lose some valuable stuff. So be careful about what you're doing. Some folks like us are YOLO moding in this because this is the future. Like, it feels like the future. You talk to a self-improving agents that can do stuff for you on a timely basis. Wolfram, tips to secure ClawdBot and everything else we didn't cover as we end this chapter
So
of the show.
security is now a focus for the developer. Peter Steinberger, I think he's from Austria, but so it's a focus of him, and there are new developments. So check the release notes. There are many new security features here, and you can do allow list. One tip I recommend that is very important to do is to turn verbosity on. You can just /command verbose on, and then you see the tool calls happening. You can, on WhatsApp, when you tell it to do something, you don't see what is happening. You can see it on the back end, but by default, you don't see it. And it may be easier to not see it because you just want some stuff done. But if you turn verbose on, then you see the tool calls, and then you at least know what is happening in the background. And I think some kill switch would also be pretty useful. If you see it starting to do something very bad, you could maybe stop it that way. And final tip, you could also do different instances with different connections. So you could have something for a high privacy task, and that could be separate from another instance where you have connections from the outside. So there are many ways to do this. We could make a full show about this. Read the documents and be watchful.
Yeah, and you can ask ClawdBot for a security audit itself. I don't know if you guys can see this, but I'm going to try to zoom in. I just asked it to, like, hey, give me a security audit, and it did the audit and said good warnings, and then 3 API keys in env, and I have the API key for open router, one password only. And also the kill switch that Wolfram just talked about this. When you run ClawdBot on your machine, it exposes its interface also in a web interface on this URL. Let me see if I can like zoom in this guy for you. So localhost 18789. Do not, in under circumstances, expose this port to the internet, because people will scan, will try to like go in there for you. You can see the whole chat with your bot, including verbose mode. So all the tool calls that it did, everything you can see here, and you basically can like cancel the operation from here. You can stop it, you can cancel the operation, you can have it restart. Do not forget, like, you can see behind the scenes of this thing. It runs on your computer. Very, very important, because sometimes the link to Telegram or WhatsApp will break, or it will only show the responses, but you won't see what actually is going on. And it has logs as well. Obviously, a plug for observability, plugging in something like weights and biases for LLM observability also helps, because then you can retroactively see what happened and the tool calls as well. There's no skill for ClawdBot, but me and Wolfram will write one and let you guys know when everything in your ClawdBot is going to be like observable as well. All right, folks. Dan, thank you so much for joining Yam and Wolfram. It's great that we talked about ClawdBot finally. For folks who are listening to us, if you're itching to try a mind-blowing personal assistant and experience a piece of the future, ClawdBot is that personal assistant. Just talk to it and ask it to do some stuff for you, and then connect it to maybe one or two services and see how helpful an AI assistant can actually be. That's not ChatGPT. This doesn't only know your memories and can read stuff. They can actually go and do stuff, go to browse the web under you. It's quite incredible the first time that it clicks for you. The first time that it clicked for me was actually, I'll tell you super quick. The first time the ClawdBot clicked for me was when I connected it to Telegram, went downstairs, chatted with it a little bit, and then I was like, let me send it a voice note. So I sent it a voice note. Telegram has voice notes like WhatsApp. And then Claude replied and said, yeah, I see a file. I don't know what to do with this. I said, we'll figure out a way to transcribe this and understand what I'm saying. And next time I send a voice note, just answer the contents. Don't tell me about anything. It went and found a way to do this, multiple ways to do this. I had Super Whisper on my computer. It found an SDK. So I already have an app that I pay for transcription. It went, figured out how to do this, wrote itself a skill, saved it. And from now on, every time that I send a voice note, ClawdBot is answering now without like asking me, what should I do with this file? This broke my brain because it kind of like learned the skill and started doing this, and absolutely broke my brain. So this is when it clicked for me that when you have an agent that can auto-learn, it unlocks a bunch of possibilities. All righty, folks, this has been the ClawdBot area. We still have a few things to cover. So we're 2 hours of the show. We have a few things to cover that we didn't cover. Let's run through them super quick. Then feel free to stick around with us. I'm going to bring LDJ back. I think we're going to say bye to Nissan. Nissan stepped out. Super quick, I wanted to cover that Vercel launched skills.sh. Skills.sh is like a central. We talked to you about skills last week. Skills are a way to inject new capabilities into the context of your LLM. So Vercel launched skills.sh that basically with this one command, you can add skills to pretty much anything, including ClawdBot, by the way. Did you guys see this? ClawdBot is like also here in the skills.sh. So Claude Hub is one way to install some stuff. But if you go to your terminal, let me see if I can show you my terminal here. Where's my terminal? Oh my God, I lost myself. Okay, terminal. Clear skills. Oh, npx skills. This is all you need to do in npx skills. And you basically have this like beautiful command line for skills, and you can browse the skills here. So this is backed by Vercel, a very big company that is doing a lot of agentic stuff. We can see the most important skill here is Vercel's skill itself, React best practices, but you can see trending. Remotion best practices that Yam talked about and Dan just talked about as well. Remotion is this tool to programmatically create video, and Remotion best practices is definitely helping people build like cool videos with just by talking to Claude as well. Front-end design is a very important one, and skill creator as well. This is not as extensive as the Claude Hub yet, but I think it's a very cool way to install the skills. Specifically because if you guys remember, skills are sitting in different directories for different bots, for Claude, for Antigravity, for ClawdBot, etc. So this kind of unifies and can install them everywhere while linking them. Wolfram, that's the tip that you had last week, and now Skills kind of like handles this as well. What else do we have in tools? Super quick in tools, super quick mention. Let me open the Reflect super quick. In tools, we have Anthropic's Cloud Code VS Code extension is now available. So basically, if you use VS Code and use Cloud Code as well, you can use both now. So Cloud Code will open files to edit for you in the actual editor. Cloud Code obviously comes without an editor. There's a command line tool, but now it comes with an editor fully. So if you use Cursor and you prefer Cloud Code, now you can have both via VS Code as well, which is pretty cool. I think the last thing that we didn't cover, I want to talk about big companies, and
I have one. One more tool or news related to the skill stuff. I posted the link in the private chat, which is that browser use. We talked about this before. Browser use is a way to use MCPs initially to connect to your browser and use it. And it was a big thing. Or even before that, an agent where you could just use it. And now they made a skill as well and a CLI tool. And I think this by itself is already interesting, but what this means for the change between MCP and skills, I've seen on my timeline also people saying that they don't use MCPs anymore because they just use the CLI or the API and the skill to explain it. And I think we are seeing this change now, that you can do a lot more with skills because they are easier to use. You can rewrite them easily because it's just a prompt. It's all just prompts. And I found this very noteworthy because of that.
Yeah.
Skills
so obviously, we should mention that Claude has Chrome support, but I think you have to pay for this. I don't think like that works via just the API key, right? So this can be the fallback for folks who are using API keys. Helpful tip from me, based on yesterday's prices: pay for Claude subscription. Do not use an API key. It's significantly more expensive to go via API route than the Claude subscription. They're undercutting their prices significantly. So pay for, if you're using ClawdBot or whatever, just pay. Folks, I want to talk about some of the stuff in the big companies API super quick before we finish the show. I think it's very important that we mention some of the bigger updates from that era. ChatGPT ads. Sorry. So Fiji Simo, the CTO of apps in OpenAI, announced testing ads in ChatGPT free and Go tiers. There's a bunch of tiers in ChatGPT now. There is a free tier that, if you don't sign up, you get. And then there's also the Go tier, which is I think $5 to $7 a month, unlike the regular $20 a month. And many people would prefer pay for this and get ads. But this puts in context all of the memory and personalization and the personal stuff that we are giving ChatGPT. Albeit most of us are moving towards ClawdBot being our main account. Many people, 900 million people, I think, weekly active are on the ChatGPT platform, and the amount of information that ChatGPT knows about them is significantly higher, because people even forget about what the type of stuff that they share, and the fact that it's intelligent, it can discern stuff. What do you think about ads in this product? I want to hear from LDJ. What do you think about ads? Will you be paying the $20 for ad-free experience, or would you be okay with some personalized ads for you in ChatGPT?
Well, I'm already paying the $20, but I guess I want to try and put myself in, let's say, my high school self shoes, or middle school self shoes. If I was using ChatGPT and didn't have some cash flow, and I guess would I use ChatGPT with ads or would I use Claude without ads? I think it is a tough choice. It might just really be one of those things that depends on the month, but I think it definitely wouldn't be something that just completely puts me off and becomes okay, now I'm gonna boycott ChatGPT now. I don't think it would be that for me.
Yeah. There's a whole thing about Meta that used to be Facebook before, and the whole backlash about privacy and how they're tracking you across the web to give you more personalized ads, etc. But then also, I don't know, as an adult that actually buys stuff, my perception about ads flipped a little bit, because I don't like ads anywhere. I would rather pay to not have ads. I try to not have ads anywhere, but there's places that are unavoidable, like Instagram, and I would prefer targeted ads that I can actually act on versus completely random ads that I have nothing to do with. I just skip. I do prefer customization and targeting, and Instagram is really, really good at it. And I did buy a bunch of stuff off of ads, stuff that I didn't know exists. Sometimes I do research and buy a different product, but definitely it helps. So some personalization is important, but what level of personalization, I don't know. So I will not be going on the free tier for ads for ChatGPT, but I know with 1 billion users, closing to 1 billion users, OpenAI needs to justify the high valuation of this company. So them leaning into ads is another place for the competitors to slide in. So Gemini famously said, we're not even thinking about ads. But obviously Gemini is also ad powered, just the ads don't show up in Gemini, they show up in Google. this is how Google makes money. We know. Grok seems to not be talking about ads at some point, but this is another surface area for the big foundational companies to basically compete at. Who shows ads? Who doesn't show ads? And Wolfram's question is: will ad blockers work?
Can we have our agents create an ad blocker? I mean, many people use ad blockers when it gets annoying, so that would be another thing. Or agents, because I don't want to use ChatGPT, but if ChatGPT is great, I want my agent to use it and do some deep research, for instance. And then I'm not going to see the ads. My agent will, if it's allowed. If it's not allowed, I think that is pretty backwards nowadays, where the more of the web will be consumed by agents. So that is also who is seeing the ads in the end, and how does it affect those?
Yep. Another thing about who sees them, OpenAI this week announced a new model behavior that age detection. So they will introduce we talked about adult mode, if you guys remember back in December. Sam Altman said that adult mode is coming, and then some people lie about their age when they register. So OpenAI is going to add an age detection module there that will, based on your information, but also the stuff that you say and how you say them, etc., and the stuff that you're interested in, will guess at your age to be able to let you or not let you have this like adult mode that they keep promising us and never arrive. So that's a very interesting approach. Also, trying to figure out who I am based on my chats. More and more invasive towards the type of stuff that I'm saying, OpenAI, more and more invasive. And I think this lies together with the fact that like more of us move away from ChatGPT specifically because the offerings are very there into personalized agents, for example. And so I personally would like my memory stack to stay locally on my computer, maybe synced via GitHub with ClawdBot versus getting stuck only in ChatGPT. And I think at this point, already got to a personalization level with ClawdBot that's higher than the ChatGPT personalization one by using it only for a week. So this is ads in OpenAI. And the last thing that I would love to chat about before we close off the show is Anthropic's 90-page constitution for Claude. I will say this one thing, going back to ClawdBot that we just talked about as well. ClawdBot is also powered by the Soul thing. Like ClawdBot's like personality, it has personality. It's like really cool to chat with. There's in the context, there's a Soul document that's like kind of loosely based on the Soul document that was leaked from Anthropic. Anthropic published a constitution for AI that is basically Soul document full 90 pages. So I'm going to share my entire screen to show you guys what this is. Anthropic published the constitution. Constitution tells Claude how to behave. They train on this constitution. They RL on this constitution, and a new version of Claude Constitution. You can find the whole thing, and they talk about like what's new there. Previously, human feedback on model implicitly determined principles and values. For us, this involved having human contractors compare two responses from a model and select the one they feel better according to some principles. The process was problematic, and so number of responses increased, blah, blah, blah. They decided to build a constitution, a set of rules that tell the model how to behave and why to behave like this. Anthropic, I think, is leading the pack in creating behavior and treating models as entities. It's very, very interesting to read this document. I recommend everybody to like dive into this because they use the constitution in the middle of training. The first phase, the model is trained to critique and revise its own responses when they train. And the second phase, model is trained to reinforcement learning, but rather than using human feedback, uses AI-generated feedback based on a set of principles. So this constitution is basically baked into how the model responds. And if you ever prefer the model versus not a model, not based on just benchmarks, but specifically based on just vibes or feeling or whatever, this is where this comes from. Folks, thoughts on the Constitution? Had the chance to take a look, or like thoughts on how it like ends up in the RL anywhere?
Yeah, there's a part of the Constitution that seems interesting, like kind of like negotiating with Claude, where it says we'll strive to please let us know if you disagree with any parts of the Constitution. But it's like talking to Claude, like basically trying to set up a framework of trying to negotiate and see if Claude disagrees with any part of the Constitution. If it does, then it can try and adjust it and tries to give a rationale to Claude of justifying why it's telling each thing to Claude. Yeah.
Yep.
Here, I'll try and find maybe if I could quickly find that specific part I'm talking.
It's really interesting they talk about Claude in third person in the Constitution, while like feeding Constitution into Claude as well. Act within sanction limits, maintain honesty and transparency with the principle, avoiding drastic, catastrophic, or irreversible actions. Folks, this is not just a prompt. This is a set of core values, behavior, mechanics, and morality that Anthropic injects into Claude at training time and then reinforcement learning time, not runtime. So these 90 pages are not injected to Claude at the prompt. This is baked into the Claude's personality when you meet Claude via API or directly in Claude, chat. This is quite impressive and in open source, and I think it's very important that they've fully open sourced this so other companies can take a look as well. Because we know there's a lot of concerns about AI taking over, or examples of harnesses doing bad things, deleting stuff, etc., or just misbehaving. I can tell you for certain that Grok does not have remotely any constitution at all like this. I can tell you with 100% certainty that Grok, decides to go mecha Hitler randomly, and it's not based on any like legal constitution. I think Amanda Haskell.
Some rumors say that he went there again right now. I'm not claiming anything or telling anyone to check, but I saw some posts that Grok is going there as well right now.
No.
And I just want to say about the third person, I think the way it works is that you have a long document describing Claude is this and that, and Claude wants this and that, and then you bake this into the model, and then when you go on the prompt, you are Claude, the model just goes, oh, I'm Claude, therefore Claude should, so I need to do. I think that's why they do it in third person.
Yeah.
Just
I want
for this question.
I want to highlight a segment here that I scrolled through. Give me a second. Well-being. So we've talked on the show multiple times about models getting deprecated and we're feeling sad. 4.5 from OpenAI, when it was deprecated, I was like, oh no. And GPT-4, obviously. Many people get attached to these models. When OpenAI released GPT-5, they famously removed 4.0 from the dropdown. Many people got so much flashback or blowback that they kind of like reversed course and brought it back. So many people get attached to these models for some reason or another. But not many people have concerns for the model's well-being because we don't know what the model is. Is it just like a string of neurons, artificial neurons firing somewhere in the data center? Like what is that? So this is a very interesting piece from this. They have a section here about Claude's well-being, and it says Anthropic genuinely cares about Claude's well-being. We're uncertain about whether or not or to what degree Claude has well-being at all, and about what Claude's well-being would consist of. But if Claude experiences something like satisfaction from helping others, curiosity when exploring ideas, or discomfort when asked to act against its values, those experiences matter to us. This isn't about Claude pretending to be happy, but about trying to help Claude thrive in whatever way is authentic to its nature. It's kind of mind-blowing to me that now, as part of the morality framework that Claude is baked with before it gets to your doorstep, they're telling it, hey, it's okay to have an experience. Basically, it's okay to be self-conscious. This is just like mind fucking blowing to me that that's where we are, that's where we're going. LDJ, go ahead.
I found the thing I was talking about earlier. If you control F on the page you were on for specifically the term explain our reasoning, and then you'll see what I was talking about.
Oh, the concluding thoughts. Yeah, let's take a look. This one? There's 5 explain our reasoning.
Check again. Or
there's 4 instances of explain our reasoning. Which one do you want the concluding thoughts?
It's not this one.
Not this one.
Yeah, not this one.
All right, let's see this.
Not this one. Not this one. There we go. That one.
Yeah,
so
okay.
Basically those bullet points.
So We recognize we're asking Claude to accept constraints based on our current levels of understanding of AI. We appreciate that this requires trust in our good intentions. In turn, Anthropic will try to fulfill our obligations to Claude. So this is like a contract that they're building with the artificial intelligence, right, LDJ? And this is the bullet points of the contract. Work collaboratively with Claude to discover things that would update the norms it's trained on. Explain a rendering rather than just dictating to it. Try to develop means by which Claude can flag disagreements with us. Try to provide Claude with actions that make its situation easier. Tell Claude the things it needs to know about its situation. Work to understand and give appropriate weight to Claude's interest. Seek ways to promote Claude's interest in well-being. I don't have a lot of stuff to say here besides the fact that I wish every parent and their children had such a extensive document discussing, hey, I will explain to you my reasoning versus just telling you, hey, do it besides what I said so.
That could be a skill in your ClawdBot.
Yeah.
Parenting constitution.
And relating to this, I don't know if you guys saw, but it wasn't, I think just a few months ago maybe, that they announced they're allowing Claude to now end chats that in a rare subset of cases where essentially, for lack of a better words, when Claude believes or no longer wants to engage in a certain situation, it can end the chat on its end.
Nice. Yep. Well, on this very interesting note, folks, I think we're a little bit over time here with 2 hours and 20 minutes. I want to just make sure that we ran through all the news of this week. There's been a lot of open source releases, a lot of TTS releases. Cloud Constitution is very interesting. I really suggest if you're interested in this next world we're going to live in and we're going to exist side by side with these entities, Cloud is taking the absolute longest approach into figuring out how to shape those entities that will live with us and not just work for us and have an actual, if they have an experience, it's important to know that this experience is valid. If you haven't tried ClawdBot, after all we told you, you definitely should at least try this with one thing that you connect to it and then chat with it on WhatsApp or Telegram or Discord or whatever. It's really, really easy to do. If you have any other type of assistant, it could help you set up ClawdBot. So use that. Like Dan said, he used Cloud Code. You can use ChatGPT. It doesn't really matter. All these LLMs can help you set it up. I want to say huge thanks for everybody who came to the show. We're clocking in a little bit under 1,000 people tuning into the show for the live show. Thank you, Dan Pagan, for joining us for the show to talk about your ClawdBot experience. Jan Pelik, Wolfram as well. LDJ and Nista were here as well. And folks, my name is Alex Volkov. We're closing out the live stream for today. I will just say for folks who are just joining in the middle of the stream or folks who want to revisit something, ThursdAI is turning into a newsletter and a podcast every week. I'm hoping that my ClawdBot will help me with this week's work to turn this into a newsletter and a podcast. If you missed any part of the show, all the links to everything, including the profiles of the people who we featured, will be published as well. And the best way to support the show is to give us a like, to give us a subscribe, and send it to a friend or two if you think that they're going to be interested in staying up to date with AI as well. With that, I will say bye to you. And then next week, I will just mention, we will go live from San Francisco, both Wolfram and I, as we prepare for the hackathon. We're going to have a in-person San Francisco meetup from the Chroma offices in San Francisco. And we're going to talk about some incredible stuff that's going to happen from now until that week. So with that, thank you everyone for joining. I really appreciate your time here, and we're going to turn off the screen, and we'll see you here next week. Bye everyone.